do you think like this is? I mean, we know quarterbacks are going to continue to play right up into the late 30s, early 40s, all of that. But like, are these two going to be, a once in every 30 or 40 year type of thing, or do you think this will be the common trend? Do you think like 7 years from now, 8 years from now, 10 years from now, we're going to be talking about? It'll be more than that. Sorry, like Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen, and they're both 42 years old. Do you think it's going to go that way with all these young stud quarterbacks? Like, what's your feel there?
Well, my feel is that it will for a variety of reasons. Yeah. And let me say this first, because when Matt Hasselbeck retired, he was just about 40 and may have been 40. And it caused me to research at the time quarterbacks who had performed at a high level beyond the age of 40. And the list was basically Brett Favre. Right. He turned 40 during the 2009 season with the Vikings, where, but for his crossbody throw in the NFC Championship game that was intercepted by Tracy Porter, causing our friend Paul Allen to yell, "This is not Detroit, this is the Super Bowl." But for that, he would have gone to the Super Bowl at the age of 40. There aren't many quarterbacks beyond him who have played past their 40th birthday at a high level in the NFL. I think it changes now for one very big reason. Two, number one, guys know how to take care of themselves now, and they put a lot more into it than they ever did before around the calendar, focused on staying healthy and young and vibrant and active and able to compete with guys half their age. Number two, the rules are conducive to it.
Without a doubt.
The don't touch the quarterback rules help keep guys healthier, deeper into their lives, and allow them to play longer. It's that simple.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's really it is that simple. And I'm with you. I just was curious, did you think this would be like, oh, we'll never see this again? But I agree. It's just the way players are staying in shape, staying after themselves. Brady, of course, has brought great awareness to everybody too, which I think is going to, help these guys as far as what they do to attack it. But I would think it's going to be a consistent thing. It's just amazing how quickly it moved. That's where I'm amazed. My dad in 1993 was 38 years old, and the whole year, I was 13 years old, so I remember the whole year everybody was amazed with how good he was playing at 38, and he was the oldest quarterback ever to win a playoff game at 38, which is crazy. And then you're right, Favre changed it, and now I feel like we're going to see 40s on a consistent basis as we go forward.
Peyton Manning was 39 when he finally called it quits, and he felt older than 39 because he had been through more physically, and he was kind of rickety, and it was a limp to the finish line for Peyton Manning in the 2015 season. But there's no way he could have squeezed another year out of that body.
Way.
Week one of that season, week one, somebody that I know was in the bowels of the stadium in Denver and saw Peyton Manning outside the locker room doing all sorts of funky stuff just to get loose to play week one.
Right.
It's like, man, this guy's a mess.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, with Brady, he's the trailblazer. And I don't think he's going to stop at 45, Chris. He has said the year that he turns 45 early August, that would be 2022.
Right.
That's his last year, according to everything that he's said about how long he wants to play. I'm not ready to say he's going to be done. I'm not based upon how he's playing right now, because he's managed to defy Father Time. Father Time remains undefeated.
Yeah.
But it could be that Tom Brady holds him off even longer than Tom Brady thought he could hold him off.
Well, I mean, I won't be shocked, but we're definitely going to get next year, right? That's for sure. But as we know, and again, Brady's defying a lot of this. When it does fall, it's going to fall in a hurry. Where I feel like it'll be one of those things where we'll be like, man, Brady just got old, like right in front of our eyes. Like, what the hell happened? But as it looks right now, I mean, I'm with you, Mike. I swear, I think he runs faster now than he did in 2011, and his throwing is every bit as powerful and accurate as it's ever been. So, as long as he's willing to take the beating and feels like he can move just enough to get out of harm's way, I mean, yeah, he's definitely going to finish next year. There's no doubt about that. 45 and beyond, it's certainly a good question right now.
I remember thinking very early in his career that he must have done a damn Yankees-style deal with the devil to be as good as he was 2001, 2, 3, and 4 after he was this frumpy-looking dude that came out of Michigan as the 199th pick in the draft. So, I mean, if he did a deal with the devil, he's getting the best of the bargain. He's letting him play all the way into his mid-40s. So I think my deal with the devil theory is actually gaining momentum the longer this guy plays.
It's unreal. I mean, again, I'm one that'll sit there and tell you I don't think Brady's, the greatest quarterback ever. But as far as consistent greatness, longevity, I don't know. That's not even a conversation anymore. That's out the window as far as just year after year of great years. That's where it's like we get into the conversation about, the Gale Sayers versus, let's say, the Frank Gores of the world with the Hall of Fame. With the quarterback situation, okay, I don't think Brady in his prime is as good as some of the other great quarterbacks of all time. Elway, Aaron Rodgers, of course, them. But
how was Rodgers the second name?
Well,
I
just throwing names out either way. But what I'm saying is, I guess I have to start balancing how good he is for how long he is too, and take that into account, which means something. And it's really special what Brady's doing. There's no doubt about that.
Throw in the 6 Super Bowl wins and quite possibly a 7th at some point, although it's not going to be easy for Tom Brady and company. They got to get there first, and then when they get there, it's not like they're going to be playing a team that isn't equipped to win the Super Bowl. But you mentioned Aaron Rodgers. He's the next one to play past 40. He said he wants to play past 40. And then you got Russell Wilson, who's 32, who has said he's going to play until he's 45. Recent events tell me that all of those seasons may not be with the Seattle Seahawks, maybe sooner rather than later. Sorry to get Seahawks fans riled up early on a Thursday morning, but it's 4:08 local time. Not many of them are listening right now. They'll listen to the re-air. They'll get upset when they watch NBCSN in a few hours. But I think this is where it's going. And you throw on the third factor. We talked about diet, nutrition, exercise that allows guys to play longer, rules that are conducive to it. Third, we're talking about an obscene amount of money relative to what other guys make.
Well, that's
franchise
true,
quarterbacks make an obscene amount of money, and that rubber band is going to continue to be stretched. That is the ultimate incentive to keep playing. It gets back to your dad's advice to Brett Favre. Don't stop until they rip the uniform off of you. No, why would you when they're stuffing your pockets with cash to keep playing?
No, you're right about that.
Yeah, I'm going to keep playing.
Yeah, the teams don't show good quarterbacks the door anymore. That used to go on. Now it's really like, oh, we don't want to upset the fan base, and he's, it's been such a big part of our organization, and oh man, he still sells a lot of jerseys, so we're never going to really cut the ties with him. That's where it's changed, where back in, 80s, 90s, you didn't see that. When teams felt like quarterbacks were getting to the end, it was like, okay, sorry, see you, move on, time to go. We're going to move that on. And now it goes back again to the quarterback is on the same pedestal with what they're making for the most part as the owner. They've trumped the coach as far as power in the organization in a lot of places. And this is part of that conversation and why it's all working out this way.
It's a point that I make all the time when we talk about how coaching pay hasn't grown at the same rate as player pay and salary cap.
Right.
A good coach is worth more than a good quarterback. Now, a great quarterback is worth more than a good coach.
Sure.
But, we talked a couple of weeks ago after Jared Goff broke his thumb and he's making $33.5 million a year. I'd rather pay Sean McVay $33.5 million a year than Jared Goff. And you got Bill Belichick, who's making north of $20 million a year. There are quarterbacks out there who aren't all that good who are making north of $20 million a year.
Yeah,
I'm not going to name names, Derek Carr, and Derek Carr's better than I don't want to go all in on Derek Carr this morning. That was gratuitous and unnecessary, and I apologize, Derek Carr.
Oh.
But he's a guy who, I'll tell you what, given where the market's gone, his $25 million per year or thereabouts it's pretty ridiculous
good.
Now.
Yeah.
It was a little ridiculous at the time to make him the highest paid player in the history of football. That was a little ridiculous. Right now, it's in a good spot relative to others. But still, I'd rather have Bill Belichick than Derek Carr, wouldn't you?
No, definitely. I mean, yes, you'd really have. I'd rather have Bill Belichick almost over than anybody. I mean, it doesn't even matter. It may be a handful of the young stud quarterbacks right now, but the rest of them, I'd go, I think I'll take Belichick. So yes, he's special that way, and we can't, forget We just talked about Peyton Manning first week limping into it. Again, there's just too many examples of teams going to the Super Bowl, winning the Super Bowl with rookie quarterbacks, rookie contracts, guys getting to the Final Four in the Super Bowl that are not that special, a.k.a. Jared Goff, Jimmy Garoppolo. Hey, Peyton Manning was the worst quarterback in football when he won the Super Bowl. It's like people got to remember that. So I as we have talked a lot, I think the world is going to turn here. I think there are more and more people in the NFL who have heard what we have said, and not that they've never thought about it before, but this is going to be a thing that's going to be talked about in organizations as they go forward. Wait, do we really want to pay this guy $35 million? Is he really that special? Or can we find somebody else to do the exact same thing? And yeah, it might piss off our fan base for like a few weeks, but we can get him for half the money. And I think that is going to happen here as we go, because there's just a lot of damn good, talented quarterbacks out there right now.
Since we have gone completely off the rails and haven't even begun to talk about what we were planning to talk about, and Pete Demolitis is probably pulling his beard out right now, which may be a good thing based upon what his beard looks like. I digress. But here's where Pete said, "What did I do?" Here's where the rubber meets the road on that analysis, and it doesn't just have to be a guy who's early in his career and a team says, no, we're not going to give him that presumptive big contract. We're just going to find a new quarterback. In Seattle, where they are going back to 2012,
and
they are going to go run heavy in 2 years, that's when Mark Rodgers, the agent for Russell Wilson, at the latest will be banging on the door for the next market-level contract for Russell Wilson. He's currently at $35 million a year. That was top of the market at the time. The top of the market now is $45 million. Who knows where it'll be in 2 years? But whatever it is, Rodgers is going to want that for Russell Wilson, and the Seahawks are going to say, why? We're not getting our money's worth. See, at some point, there's going to be irreconcilable differences between the Seahawks and Russell Wilson about his value and his role. Because if you're going to have a run-based offense, you don't need to be paying your quarterback $45 million a year. You're better off drafting a kid from Wisconsin in round 3 and hoping it works out. And I feel like at some point, and it's both sides, at some point I feel like Russell wants to see what he could do somewhere else, and at some point the Seahawks want to see what they could do with someone else and save a hell of a lot of money in the process. So that's one big, big area where this theory could blossom. And a lot of people be like, what's going on? Well, if you've been paying attention to the business realities, you know what's going on.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, your points are real. I mean, I think they're borderline factual, really. I mean, the fact that we know Seattle was reluctant to want to pay him that type of contract anyways. We also know, and we discussed last offseason, they thought and flirted about moving on. You know, we had the conversation. There was a discussion with the Browns for the number 1 pick. Russell Wilson to the Browns. Everything I know, Seahawks were going to take Josh Allen. That's what they wanted to do. That was a plan. So their mind has been there, and you're right. We'll see where it goes. I mean, yeah, do you need to pay a quarterback $35 million a year if it's all about the run and the defense? Probably not. No, but you know, if it is still about the offense and run the game, and then we want to be special play action and make special plays off that, well, we'll see where that goes. But yeah, we don't know what this new formula is going to look like in Seattle with the new offensive coordinator, whoever that may be.
My brain is now fully activated without the benefit of caffeine regarding all of the possible alternate realities that would have occurred if Russell Wilson had landed with the Browns. Would Russell Wilson be playing Patrick Mahomes this weekend? Josh Allen, if he was with the Seahawks, would they be hosting a game this weekend as a high seed in the NFC? Fascinating stuff to ponder, and it just shows you that relationship, it seems to the outside that it's a lifetime deal. Recent developments underscore the reality that at some point they are going to reach a decision that quite possibly will result in Russell Wilson playing elsewhere and the Seahawks going much, much cheaper at the quarterback position.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.